today, let's come to our main theme. First question is that I want to ask you, in your mind or in your current study, do you have any idea how big is the ocean? The ocean, as to our perception or our study, it's very big. And I'm using this picture to show you how big it is. So this is the picture of the Earth when you're looking from the outer space. So this, we call it like round shaped ball. It almost covered with all the blue. Yeah. So if you see this blue, it actually represents the ocean. So 70%, almost 70.8% of the Earth's surface is covered by the ocean. And if you really want to count or you really want to measure how big the area is, the seawater is about 361 million kilometers of the this seawater area on this planet. But we also have the countless marine species. So they're just like humans, then they grow and they nurture in the seawater. And today, I'm going to show you about a story or a legend about the ocean. This legend was quite famous in China, and I used to learn it when I was in primary school, and I also learned it in secondary school. And I want to show you today about this legend about Jingwei填海. So in English, it means Jingwei fills up the ocean. Okay, so let's go. Are you ready for that? You can give me a thumb up to let me know. Okay, great. Let's start it. So it was about 500 to 600 years ago. At that time, the ocean was still very dangerous. So the people, they start to build their houses away from the ocean in order to protect their people. So in ancient China, there was an emperor called Yan Di. So this is the emperor. So every time and every day, he went up to the mountain and he tried to taste, smell the herbs and the plants. So the main reason he did this is because he want to pick the one that is non-poison and bring back to the hometown. But today, he tasted something that is poisoned. So his village find this person and bring the man back to the village. And this is Yan Di's daughter. And her name is called 女娃. So the man's daughter was so worried about his father. And this daughter quickly grabs a bowl of water and put some tea leaves inside and bring back to let her father to drink it. Because in Chinese history, tea has the function to alleviate the poisonous. So her father was healed, and her father was very happy because her father praised the daughter. Good girl, thank you for taking care of me. Do you have any present you want? And her daughter said, I wish one day I can go to the East Sea, and I want to know how big is the sea. But her father said, you want to go to the East Sea? That is so dangerous, and sometimes you have storms and the thunders. Please don't go. But the daughter still pray that one day she can have a pair of wings and she can fly to the ocean. The next day, when she woke up, And she gets up the bed, and she was still thinking about a pair of wings that she wanted, and she saw it just in front of her. And she picked it up, and I saw it. And at once she knew that this pair of wings was from her father, Yendi, who made it. But there was one day, all the villages started to rain, and everyone could not find where Niwa was. And finally, people find the daughter was on the boat where the sea has so many storms. Yendi went up to the sea and tried to save the daughter, but these two persons just cannot. They are unable to drag. In the end, the daughter unfortunately fall into the water because of the big oceans and the waves. And in the end, the daughter still thinks, why this is happening? And why am I have to go through this? And this is the first part of the legend. It talks about Yendi doesn't allow her daughter to go to the East Sea, but Nuwa was so curious about where is the sea and how big is the sea. And the daughter decided to go by her alone, and finally and unfortunately, she fell into the water because of the big storm. However, and the next day, when the daughter opened up her eyes, she saw other people. Wow, a bird is appearing in front of our eyes. And the people hearing the bird, having the voice of Jingwei, Jingwei. And they were wondering about what this bird is about. And they have never seen this before. But because of Jingwei's voice, Jingwei, Jingwei, and all the villagers, whenever they saw the bird, they call her Jingwei. So we all know that when the daughter has fallen into the water, and the next day when she opens up, she has become a bird. So no choice that Jingwei has to left home and finally fly above the ocean. But she still thinks that the ocean is too dangerous, and she wants to use. Is there any ways that she can stop the ocean and she can fill up the ocean in order to protect other people? So she picks up the stones and the tree branches to put into the water, because she felt that if I use this way, one day the ocean can be filled up and the ocean will not harm anybody else. So she fly over from the spring to the winter, from day to the night, and non-stoppably. In the end, Jingwei and her family and her sons, her grandsons, they all pick up the stones and tree branches and put into the seawater. Okay, so this is the end of the story. So from this story, I would like to ask the students in front of me, do you think Jingwei will ever fill up the ocean? So by scientifically, and we know that ocean is countless, and also Jingwei may never able to fill up the ocean. But why we are learning about this legend is because we respect Jingwei for her perseverance and her determination to overcome the difficulties. Because she knows that even with the bad weathers, like you see, like the storms, the winter, the rainy days, she never gave up, and she always keep it up to her goals and her dreams. even though finally it might not come true, but we should learn from Jingwei's spirit of never give up. So this is about the legend about the ocean. And we also look at the other side of like the lovely ocean. So we know that we might see many aquatic animals and they live freely and happily in the ocean. And the ocean is more like a home to them. So it brings back to the Chinese people and in ancient China, we also know these lovely and these cute aquatic animals. And that's why for some of the basins, we also use these aquatic animals to make the basin. So what it is really about, we are going to watch a video to find out. But before that, I would like to bring everyone to these two questions before you watch the video. So the first question is, we are going to see a very unique and special basin. So I would like everyone to pay attention on what animals do you see in the later. And the question 2 is, since this basin is so unique and special, and we also want to find out who made this basin. All right, so let's get started to find out what is this unique basin about. Start. Live free. All right, everyone. The basin in front of you is exactly the unique basin that we're going to find out today. And its name is called Pan of ZiZhongJiang. Okay, so this is like overall how it looks like in the real life. Let's go and find out more details about it. Okay, so the first uniqueness about this basin, if you see from the left side, this is the normal basin that we usually see in our Asian Chinese. So it is flat and there's no decorations on it, only at the edges. But if you see from the right side, it is the Pan of ZiZhongJiang. So you can see that there are many aquatic animals inside to decorate it with this basin. Okay, so this is another interesting point here. So if you see from here, and you can see the left person is actually having this hand gesture to receiving the water pouring from the up. This is how the Asian Chinese people, they wash their hands. And we also call it 握冠礼. So usually how does it work? Okay, the servant from the middle, she will pour the water down using the water injector called yi or he. And the master at the left to catch the water below and to wash his hands. And another servant at the right is carrying the basin at the very down below to catch the used or discarded water. So this is how usually like the Asian China people, especially for emperor, for high profile, and then for noble ranking men, how they wash their hands in their home. Another interesting here is that once you pour the water down into the basin, the animals like fish, frog, and water birds, they will actually move in the water as if alive. So it creates a lot of fun when the people they wash their hands, because when they wash their hand, they can also see all those aquatic animals in the basin to move around. So it creates a lot of fun when they wash their hands. This is another decorations or animals that you will see from the two sides of the basin. So it is one type of dragon, and we usually call it ceratopsin. And this is our two with the left and the right. And if you want to see from like this side view, it looks like this. And we will also have like the crawling tigers at the basin. Okay, so this is a part we would like to find out who made this basin. And if you can see from these 32 characters inside the basin, and this is how it was shown in Chinese words, and we call it Mingwen or Jingwen. So this is the Chinese characters at the early spring and autumn period. And this basin was actually made by a man called Da Shi. So this is like a job title in the ancient history. And the Da Shi made this water vessel or this basin for his wife ZhongJiang on the 7th of June. So the main purpose of making this water vessel is to wish for the long life and pray for the long life and longevity of the country. And they also wish that the future generations will keep it forever. So this is who made the basin, 大士, and he made it for his wife, 仲江. All right. So even though in the history, 大士 and his wife 仲江 was not recorded, but we can see from this pan of ZiZhongJiang, and we will be able to know like the loving story between them and how the technology of bronze ware has been developed at that time. So if we have a closer look of what are the aquatic animals, and we will be able to answer our question 1. So from the video, the first one we saw is the fish. We saw the fish inside the basin. And the second one is we saw the frog and the water bird and these 2 ceratopsians at the side of the basin, and also the crawling tigers at the ring foot of the basin. And of course, I had mentioned that the 大士 is a high-ranked official of Jin state, and 大士 is the title of the job in ancient history. And he made this water vessel and this basin for his wife 仲江. That's why this basin is called Pan of ZiZhongJiang. Okay, so beside all of the water vessels that you have seen from the video, I would like to introduce other types of basins in the Chinese history. So we see that when the ancient China people, they wash their hands, usually they will use the basin. So this basin is actually quite similar to the one we see from here at the right side. We usually see that in the toilet, right? Yeah, it is actually also in modern society, we use that to wash our hands, and it's used to catch the discarded water. And sometimes you will also see that there will be appearing 2 ears at the side of the basin. So when the servant is carrying the basin, they can either carry the ring foot or they can pull these 2 rings. Another thing I would like to have a closer look is we call it the water injector. So in the video we have seen yi or he. So this is how does they look like. So some of them, they doesn't have a lid on the top, and some of them, they have the lid. So it is quite similar to what we used in our daily life as well. So we also use this like water pot, and sometimes we use it like something like this, the electric water pot, to pour the water down. So we can see that even for 2,700 years ago, and the people, or the Asian people, they have so much wisdom and knowledge about improving the daily lives. And our modern society, we actually we have carried along those wisdoms to improve our living condition as well. Okay, so, and I would like to send my greatest invitation to every one of you. If you would ever want to watch like how this basin really looks like, how the water pours down and it has animals moving in the water, please come to the Shanghai and visit the museum to have this face-to-face looking. So I know that there is a power trip at the site, but don't worry about that. I will still bring you around the travel to Shanghai City, even if we only have this online class. All right. So if you ever want to come to Shanghai, please book your air ticket, and your destination will be at Pudong International Airport. And once you arrive there, and I'll be there to show you around. So just a little bit more information about Shanghai. So if you see the black pin here, okay, this is the location of Shanghai. So from the overall picture, Shanghai City is located at the east side of China, and it's very close to the Eastern Ocean. And the city, in overall, as of year 2020, it has a population of 24.87 million people. Such a big city, huh? And definitely for younger generations and or the working adults, they like Shanghai City, and it's definitely the most populous urban area in China. And not to mention that it is also the most populous city proper in the world. So in the Shanghai City, you will see the people from all over the world, like America, England, and we also have people from Nepal, Malaysia, Singapore. So it is really like the big city to have this multicultural interaction. And one thing about the ocean, please come to the Shanghai Ocean Aquarium. The one in front of you, it is the undersea tunnel. So if you want to see the aquatic animals, and you can go through this undersea tunnel, and you will see all the animals is like flowing around you. And they also organized an undersea football game. So if anyone likes playing football, okay, you can come to here and watch the game. It is quite fun and quite exciting that you under the water and you play the games with your friends.